terror, despair, hopelessness are just some of the words that I come up with when I think about what the Valientes felt when they realized that they will never see their daughter ever again. So this tragic story caught my attention when I was watching Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. And knowing me, I went down the rabbit hole because I wanted to find out more. Tiffany Valiente was an 18-year-old volleyball superstar. She had just gotten a scholarship to go off to college, Mercy College in New York. She was fun-loving, outgoing, just overall a happy person, you know. She lived with her mom, Diane Valiente, and her dad, Steve Valiente, along with other siblings in Mays Landing, New Jersey. Tiffany was an impressive 6 feet 2 inches volleyball player. She was going to be a middle starter. If you know anything about volleyball, you know that this is a big deal going into college. On July 12, 2015, Tiffany and her family went across to their cousin's graduation party. Their cousin lived opposite them. It was just a stone throw away. They were just across the street. They went there, they were there for a couple of hours. They had fun, they played volleyball. She seemed normal, nothing seemed off. She left around 9:15 to go home. Soon later, her mom got a call from her best friend saying that she needed to talk to her. So her mom and dad left the party. The friend was telling her mom that Tiffany had spent some money off of her credit card without her permission. So Tiffany vehemently denied that she did that. The friend got in her car and left. After the friend left, Tiffany confessed to her mom that she did actually spend the money off of her card. So her mom was livid. You know how parents are. She went inside to get her dad to come out so they could both talk to Tiffany, you know, because they were like, you know, we didn't raise you like this, and you know the whole works. When her mom returned with her dad, Tiffany was gone. According to Tiffany's mom, this was around 9:30 p.m. A search ensued. They looked up and down the streets for her. She was a tall girl, so you know, she wasn't easily missed. They looked up and down. There was no sign of Tiffany. Tiffany's dad was walking along the road, and it was about 8 feet away from their house when he noticed something flat on the ground. And when he checked it out, it was Tiffany's phone. You know, I guess they were leaving messages and everything on her phone all this time.
Please, just come home. I love you to death. You mean everything in the world to me.
And I guess it started to sink in now that, you know, this is serious. And, you know, we need to do more to find her. So they went and they remembered that they had a deer cam, and they got a deer cam footage of Tiffany. She seemed to be walking off. There was not much to go on off of that because it's a deer cam footage. So they still had to be doing search on foot, in car, looking everywhere just to find any clues as to where she could have gone. So Tiffany's uncle, who was a part of the search, said there was a little voice in his head that said to go to Pomona Road. And that's where he went. When he got there, he saw flashing lights. He went up to the Galloway police and, you know, asked, have you seen this girl? They said, no, they haven't seen this girl, but someone got hit by a train. The Galloway police was not in charge of the scene. It was not their jurisdiction. The New Jersey Transit was in charge of the scene. So they were almost 100% sure that it was Tiffany. He was able to see the body in order to identify the body. Now, I cannot imagine I'm an EMT. I see these things all the time. One of my biggest fears as an EMT, to see something like that of a family member. You know, I cannot imagine how horrible that must have been for him. But he was able to identify her, and it was Tiffany. But there is a whole lot more to this story, because what happened between the time when she left her house to the train, because it was 4 miles away from her house. That train track was 4 miles away from her house. In less than a day, the medical examiner ruled that this was a suicide. But the family does not believe that. They did not believe that at that point, and they still don't believe that. And based upon evidence, it does not seem like this girl committed suicide. On that night, there were 2 engineers on the 4693 New Jersey Transit train. Both of them on that night signed that they saw her jump in front of the train. However, days later, when they went under oath, the more senior engineer said that he did not see her. He did not see her jump in front of the train, but basically, he was told that she jumped in front of the train, right? But the younger one, the junior engineer, said that he saw her. And then his story kept changing as well, because if one person's story is changing, the other one is also changing. So the junior engineer said that he didn't see her until he was upon her. So the story was not adding up. Also, there are a lot of things wrong with this case. The New Jersey Transit Authority, they're not equipped to deal with homicide. The scene was corrupted. Everything was just everything was all over the place. The family were finding stuff on the scene days afterwards. So a proper investigation was not done, because that's not their specialty. You know, they don't specialize in homicide. Another thing that was wrong with this case was that her head got most of the damage. So it was hard for the medical examiner to decide if she was injured prior to the train hitting her, right? So they can't rule that out. Also, she was wearing shorts, a t-shirt, and shoes. When they found her, she did not have on any shorts or any shoes. All right, where did that go? If someone is committing suicide, why would they take off their shorts and their shoes? She did not have any damage to her feet. 3 weeks later, her mom was, scanning the place, because it was puzzling her mom that why didn't her daughter have on her full outfit? Something was not adding up. So she was walking through the bushes looking when she came up on her daughter's shoes. So she found her shoes about 2 miles away from where daughter's body was found. Her daughter, remember, was deathly afraid of the dark. She would have had to take off her shoes, take off her shorts, and then walk almost 2 miles to jump in front of the train. Again, it was not adding up. Also, her headband was found close to the shoes. So the position which her mom said she found the shoes, it didn't look like she took them off and then, continued walking. It just seemed like someone placed them there. Now, there are a lot of theories. The parents are left to come up with their own theories to find out what really happened to their daughter, because nothing was adding up. They said that she was kidnapped. There was a black car. I couldn't find much information on that, so I'm not going to touch too much into that. There was also another talk about some drug camp close by, so it could possibly be that she was walking in the woods and then, maybe some druggie took her, and she was trying to escape, and that's how she was trying to escape her captors and ran into the train. It was just not adding up, and the family has not gotten closure. And the fact that the ball was dropped on investigation, that's where the problem is. Another piece of information was that there was an axe on the scene marked with red, and then that axe magically disappeared. So there was no investigation done on the axe, right? Toxicology report was done, and there was no alcohol or drugs in her system. Also, her mom said that if she had taken off her shoes where she found the shoes, she would have abrasions. I've been walking outside my entire life barefooted. I live in Jamaica, I'm Caribbean. We walk outside all the time barefooted. Nothing is wrong with our feet. However, for a Caucasian female, she's going to have abrasions. Walking on gravel, train tracks, that rough terrain, she would have some form of injury to her feet. But based on the photos that her mom saw, she did not have any. If you took your shoes off, took your shorts off, took your headband off, walked almost 2 miles to the train track to jump in front of the train, why didn't you have abrasions or something on the bottom of your feet? Why? The more I researched on this story, the more I found out. And I found a darker side to this story. Her friend stated that she wasn't the happy-go-lucky person that everybody, know her to be, and everybody's saying that she was, because she did have suicidal tendencies. She would, her hands and her legs, and, so that was not normal. That would be a suicidal tendency. Also, there's a report that her and her mom argued all the time. And one of the times, her mom punched her on her arm, and her teacher saw it, and CPS had to get involved with that situation, and then they had to go to counseling and so on and so forth. So there was a little bit of trouble in paradise for her and her mom. No, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that her mom was the cause of this or anything like that. I would never say something like that, but it's just to give an insight, because it's perplexing why a promising young girl like this, who has such a bright future ahead of her, would jump in front of a train. She seemed like she had a loving family. She had everything going for her. Also, she came out as a lesbian. She broke up with her girlfriend, but then she was seeing someone online. And, the breakup with her girlfriend was amicable based on what I've read. They weren't in any hot water, any bad blood or anything like that. And she was seeing someone else online, so she had obviously moved on. In these cases, what I think though is the lack of resources. And if a proper investigation was done, then I think this family would have gotten the proper closure as to what really happened to their daughter. They are still in limbo, because it's hard to imagine that someone you love would really do this to not only themselves, but to their entire family. All of these questions are left in everybody's head. Was Tiffany abducted from her home and taken to the train tracks to hide all of the evidence? Was she trying to escape her captors, and in doing so she accidentally left in front of a train? Or the big question, did she really take her life? What do you think happened to Tiffany? Please drop a comment down below and we can talk about it. And if you have any theories, we can definitely talk about it. And as usual, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing because I will be posting videos every single week. I will see you in the next one.